Guys, today I'm with Trawler Tom, and he's going to adjust the valves. And you said you recommend adjusting the valves on a Ford Lehman every 1,000 hours?
Yeah, 1,000 to 1,500 hours, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Not everybody does that. I mean, I didn't do it.
I don't think anybody ever adjusts them.
I know. It's like changing the oil in these pumps. Nobody ever changes the oil in these pumps.
They never change them.
But I do.
Until they go bad.
That's the only way they go bad, right?
That's about it. Yeah, they're pretty tough.
Yeah.
And you don't want to pay. You don't want to buy a new one. They're about $3,000
for that pump.
Yeah. Breaker bar. Yeah, breaker bar. All right, cool. You want to jump up front? You just
pulled on all the valves here to check to make sure that nothing was feeling, and this engine's actually in better shape than this engine right here. The starboard engine was a little bit looser than the port engine, right?
And the valves were a little more sloppy, yeah.
So okay,
this is your adjustment for your rocker here, right? So when I tried putting that fuel gauge in there at 25 thousandths, I couldn't even get it in there. So this one was extremely tight. So I backed it off a little bit. Now when you put it in there, as long as it's in there straight, you'll feel just tension on it.
Right.
And that's what you want. You don't want it so tight you can't move it, and you don't want it sloppy. Okay. You want to just feel you got some tension. So now we'll check number 12. You see how 12 you can't even get in there? Yeah, 12 is the last one. You got a 6 cylinder, so you got 2 valves for every cylinder.
Okay.
So I'm gonna back this one off a little bit until we get it in there.
That'll hurt us just as bad as having them too.
Yeah, because it's opening up too much.
They're 0.25 on all of them?
Yeah, we're doing 0.25. 25 thousandths. There we go. So you can kind of feel that tension in there. It's not tight, it's not loose, but you just got the tension where you just kind of pull it out. Between your little cap right above that. Above that. There you go, above. Below your rocker and above the little cap. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to move over to 3 and 5. So we're going to roll it over until number 3 and number 5 are open. And then we're going to adjust. No, 8 and 10. I'm sorry, 8 and 10. So we're going to open up 8 and 10, 10 and 8, and we're going to adjust 3 and 5. So now when you roll it over, this is next in order. So 8 and 10 are going to open next after 1 and 4.
Okay, good. So Tom, what will happen if the valves are too tight? You know, like these are tight.
You could bend the push rod.
Especially if you go over revving it and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. You can bend the push rod. You could break a valve spring. You know, drop the valve down on top of the piston. I don't know if you saw that picture the other day that Cummins I was working on. Both of the valves were down on top of the piston, and they smashed them against the piston, ruined everything.
So if you're rebuilding this in the boat, you pull everything off of it right here in the block, right?
Yep. I'll pull, you know, when I rebuild these engines, I'll start right here. I'll pull the exhaust off, because this is one of the heaviest things right here. This exhaust weighs probably about 150 pounds. I'll pull this off. I'll pull all my accessories off. I'll pull my fuel pump off. I'll pull the transmission off. I'll pull all the heat exchangers off. And pull all the fuel lines off. Alternator, starter. And once all that stuff's free, then I can focus on the block and I can start pulling the head.
Yeah, which will get the head off, and then that goes to a head shop, right?
That goes to the head shop, yeah. I got a guy up in Jacksonville I like to use. And then what I do is I've got 2 big aluminum stands I put in here, and I'll lift the engine up, and we take a come along and we roll the entire engine over, and we lay it back down on some 4x4s on just the block head. Then I pull the oil pan and pull all the bearings and pull the pistons and everything else on it.
Oh, okay.
What are we on? 7 and 11, I said?
All right, Tom, you want to fire it up?
Yeah, go ahead and fire it up. I'm going to show you guys how the water runs on these valleys.
Oh, go. Yeah, let's start it.
All right, go ahead and fire it up. Go ahead. All right. So now you'll see how this little valley right here is filled with oil. You see how the oil's coming up out of that little valley right there? It builds up out of there, it runs down here, and it coats your valve. And if you look on the back side, look at your push rod. These push rods got holes in them. And if you see the oil build up on my finger here,
Oh yeah.
it runs down your push rods. That's what lubes upper top end. So all these little valleys of full oil and dump down on top of these valves.
It actually seems really smooth.
Yeah. Smoother than what it was?
Yeah, it does. I don't know. Sounds like it. Try them again.
A two-piece rack. So when you, right here, this is a seam, this tube, there's two tubes on here, and when you pull all these risers off, right here, it'll break in half. And that's an oil course. That oil runs through this whole tube right here, and it comes up, and that's why it's running down your push rods and down this valley over the top here. And see how the oil runs down the valley? And runs right back into your core holes here. And that's what goes back down to your oil pan. And there's a lot of crap in there. That's just pain.
Typically.
Hours?
Yeah.
I try to change mine like every 200 hours, two to 400 hours. But I'm just kind of, you know, it's just, you could probably get away with 500 hours.
Oh, you can.
Realistically, I mean, you know, 400 or 500 hours. I wouldn't want to go past that though. I mean, you know, they're low idle.
Yeah, this I probably got about 250, 300 hours on it.
Yeah, I would definitely say right around there. I'd go ahead and change it. Yeah, you know, if you get, I think 200, 250. That's a good. The oil changes are cheap.
Right.
You know, you got 3 gallons in there, and
right.
you got a quarter Lucas. What do you got? Like under $100 and a Napa filter for $15. You got 150 bucks, $15 in an oil change, or you got 15,000 in an engine rebuild.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll just use a screwdriver and picking this kind of guy into the holes.
That one, this one came out. So, Tom, so far we haven't had one valve on any of these that didn't need adjustment.
No, they're all out of adjustment pretty bad.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's been a long time since they were adjusted, so. Good.
How are you telling that? I just want to know.
You'll see the valves will stop going compressing. Okay. And you can feel it over there too, because it's going to get softer. It'll get easier.
Yeah, I did. So what was that? The combination on that one was 8 and 5.
3 and 5 are open, so we're going to adjust 8 and 10.
10. Okay. And we're adjusting them to 0.25.
Yep. 25 thousandths.
Yep. Wow, not one valve's been adjusted correctly.
They're all pretty.
Well, the boat should run a little bit better, shouldn't it?
I think you can get better fuel mileage. Because you're burning way too much fuel. For the low RPMs you're burning too much fuel. You should not be burning that much.
Wait a minute, Tom.
Yeah.
Tell me what you just said right there. On the starboard engine here, if we hadn't adjusted these valves. Now I've been running the boat real easy until we got these valves adjusted, and you had to look at them. But what could have happened right there? With that
push rod not oiling, that lifter could have got stuck in the block, and it would have bent this push rod. And the only way to get that lifter out of there.
So that's one of the push rods.
That's the push rod, right? And there's lifters that are down there, seated down in the block. It looks like a little mushroom, and that's what your cam. When your cam rolls over, it pushes that lifter up and down, which pushes your push rod up and down, which in turn opens and closes your valve, right? Well, with that one not oiling down there, it would starve your lifter for oil, and it would lock that lifter in the block. And the only way to get that lifter out is to pull the cam, flip this engine over, and it's a complete rebuild to do it.
Just because no oil.
Just because there's no oil on that one push rod.
Yeah, so it's a nice catch.
Huge. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, like you just said. If you don't pull these valve covers every once in a while and just check and see what's going on underneath there.
Yeah.
You don't know.
You don't know.
Yeah.
No. It's just like right here. The valves were way too tight. You're using way too much fuel. You had one push rod not oiling, and that was a good catch.
Yeah, real good catch.
Mm-hmm.
All of them are getting oil.
Yeah. Your grandma used to have little rings on the little things, you know. And now look, all the valleys are full of oil. You're running down on top of these valves.
That's what we're looking for.
That's what we're looking for, yep. We want oil coming down the valley and down the push rod.
Yeah, I see this one looks really good.
This one's oiling extra. And you just see it running. You can see it running down there. This thing's running really smooth.
Yeah, as you can see all of the oil running down all of the push rods in this one. So on the starboard engine, this guy right here, we need to take it off. So we got to pull the rack, and we're going to do that in marathon while it's on anchor, because we won't get there's no slips there.
No, we do it on anchor. That's no problem.
Yeah.
We can do it all right here in the boat.
Yeah, I'll just pick you up in the dinghy, and we'll come over here, and then we have to pull this rack off basically, and then we pull that out, and then we just have to clean the.
We're gonna try to clean that little hole out of there and make sure we got
good.
Get an oil passage again.
Okay.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah,
Sweet.
it's simple fix.
Yeah.
A lot simpler than it could have been.
Yeah, right. Because it's spending. What do you charge for it? It's a trip out there, an hour, hour back.
It's like $100 to come out there, and it's $200 an hour. So we'll probably have about 4 hours in the entire job.
Yes, and so then, but that is cheap compared to trying to build a motor. That could cost me.
I mean, you got a $800-900 bill as opposed to a $15,000 bill.
Yeah, correct. So perfect. Anyway, perfect. Some of the guys will just pull the rack or just adjust the valves, put the valve covers on there, and not even check, just make sure the oil's flowing.
Well, they won't run the engine. I like to pull the valve cover, adjust my valves, and run the engine just for that reason right there, because I want to see that we have oil on our valves and our push rods.
And is this true for like Cummins?
It's true for any engine. Every engine,
any of them.
Every engine's got oil. They all have to oil their top ends.
Yeah, so the valve should be adjusted on every marine engine at certain intervals.
Every diesel engine needs valve adjustments. Gasoline ones are a lot more
forgiving.
Forgiving, yeah, that's a good word. Yeah.
Nice.